Flames crawl like living things over gold and mithril as the forge of Ostined Hill screams itself apart. The air tastes of iron and ash, and something older, like burned starlight. In the center of the ruin, 2 rings blaze upon an anvil, one small and plain, one bright and proud. Elrond shouts a warning that no one hears. Celebrimbor, bleeding and wild-eyed, brings the hammer down, driving the one ring against Nenya with a sound like the cracking of the world. If you enjoy these deep dives into alternate Middle-earth, consider subscribing and leaving a like so more lore fans find them. Tell me in the comments which realm you would defend in this timeline and where in Arda you are watching from. The hammer falls again. Metal screams. Light erupts, not outward but inward, folding into itself. A white wound in the air that swallows color and sound. The walls of Celebrimbor's secret forge buckle. Lamps burst like eggs. Elven smiths stagger back, hands over their eyes, but the light is inside their skulls now. A pressure behind the eyes, a taste of cold fire on the tongue. The one ring and Nenya fuse, or seem to for a heartbeat. Then they reject one another. The white wound turns black at the edges, as if it has begun to burn. A ring of void pulses out, slamming bodies against stone, flinging tools like leaves in a storm. The floor splits in a starburst beneath the anvil, and the anvil itself is gone. Not shattered, not melted, simply absent, as if it had never been. The one ring falls onto bare stone with a small, almost apologetic chime. Nenya does not fall. What remains of it hangs in the air for a moment. A ghost of mithril and adamant, its once clear stone, now a spider web of fractures. Then it collapses into glittering dust that hangs, suspended, defying gravity, humming with a high, thin note that makes teeth ache. Galadriel, far away beneath the young Malans of Lorien, drops to her knees. Her fingers clutch at her breast where Nenya rests upon its chain, and for an instant she feels it there, impossibly heavy, as if the sea itself pulls at it. The song of the trees stutters. The light on the river dims. She hears, or thinks she hears, the faint echo of a hammer striking something that should never have been struck. The ring against her heart goes ice cold. Then it is gone. Not slipped from its chain, not stolen, not hidden. Gone. Her breath leaves her in a soundless cry. The world does not darken. Not yet. But something in it is suddenly thinner, more fragile, as if a pane of glass that had always stood between Middle-earth and decay has cracked. In Eregion, Celebrimbor forces himself upright, ears ringing, lungs full of dust and the bitter stink of unbound power. His hands are raw and blistered. His hair is singed. The forge is a ruin, but he's alive. That fact seems almost offensive. The one ring lies before him, unmarked. He can feel it now with a clarity he had never known before, a presence like a gaze. It is aware, it is angry, it is afraid. Elrond coughs, half buried under fallen stone. He drags himself free, eyes streaming, and sees Celebrimbor reach for the ring with shaking fingers. "Do not touch it," Elrond rasps. Celebrimbor laughs once, a short, broken sound. "It is too late for that," he says, voice hoarse. "It has touched everything. He does not put it on. Not yet." He lifts it instead, holding it between thumb and forefinger, and for the first time since his hand forged it under the whisper of Anatar, he feels resistance. The ring does not want to be held by him. It wants to go. He closes his fist around it. Far to the east, upon the plain of Gorgoroth, Sauron staggers. He is not in fair form now. He wears a body of war and terror, tall and black-armored, the air around him shimmering with heat. Orcs and men cower as he reels, clutching at his breastplate as if stabbed by an unseen blade. The Barad-dûr shudders. A ripple passes through its foundations, a low groan that sets dust falling from every lintel. The eye that is not yet an eye flares in the dark places of his thought, and for the first time since he poured his malice into gold, he feels loss, not a whisper, not a veil, a wound. Nenya breaks, and with it, something in the lattice of his power. He had woven the three lightly, or so he believed, cunning in his restraint. Yet when one of them is unmade by the very fire that sustains his own ring, a feedback he had not foreseen tears through his spirit. He tastes Galadriel's shock as a distant echo. He tastes the death of Celebrimbor's craft. He tastes defiance. "Who dares?" he whispers, and his voice makes the mountain tremble. Orcs in the shadow of his tower throw themselves flat, whimpering. He spreads his will, reaching for the one ring, the anchor of his being. For a heartbeat, he feels nothing. A cold emptiness where there had always been a familiar weight, like the sudden absence of a limb. Then, faint and furious, he feels it. Pain. The one ring is in pain. In Osten Eadhill, Celebrimbor feels an answering spike behind his eyes, a stabbing ache that is not his own. He hears Sauron's distant snarl, like thunder over the eastern horizon. Elrond grips the edge of a shattered workbench, watching his lord with a mix of horror and desperate calculation. "What have you done?" he asks. Celebrimbor closes his eyes. His mind reaches for the memory of Nenya, the cool clarity of its light, the way it had sung to him of preservation, of beauty unwithering, of time held in a gentle hand. He remembers Galadriel's calm gaze when he gave it to her, the unspoken plea in his own. "I tried to destroy it," he says, meaning the one, and instead, I have broken hers. The guilt lands like a blow. Elrond's jaw tightens. He looks at the dust still hanging in the air where Nenya's twin had died, and he understands dimly the scale of what has occurred. The One Ring has touched another of the great rings directly. Their magics have clashed, and one of the three has been unmade. What does that mean for the others? In a tower by the sea, Círdan the shipwright feels a sudden weight upon his hand. Narya, the ring of fire, flares to life with a heat that does not burn. For years, he has worn it lightly, a secret ember that warms the hearts of those around him, that whispers of endurance and quiet hope. Now it roars. The harbour of Mithlond gleams as if under a noon sun, though the day is grey. Sailors pause, squinting at the sudden brilliance. The gulls wheel and cry in agitation. Círdan grips the railing, face turned toward the east. He does not know yet what has happened, but he feels the surge of power, the sudden, frantic pull as the One Ring reaches for what remains of its scattered children. Narya resists. It is fire, but not his fire. It burns for others, not for dominion. Círdan's aged eyes narrow. So he murmurs to the empty air. "You overreach, Lord of Gifts." He does not know that Galadriel lies gasping in Lorien, fingers clawing at an absent chain. He does not know that in Khazad-dûm, deep under red lamps, a dwarf lord clutches his beard as Vilya, hidden in a stone coffer, hums like a trapped storm. But he feels the tearing. The balance has shifted. In the months before this moment, Sauron's war on Eregion has been a storm still building on the horizon. Rumors of his armies moving west, of men of the east and south marching under a single dark banner, have reached the ears of Gil-galad in Lindon and Durin in Khazad-dûm. Messengers have ridden hard. Councils have been held. The elvensmiths of Ostin Edhill have worked day and night to hide their greatest works, to send the three away before the shadow falls. In another timeline, they succeed just in time. In this one, Celebrimbor is not content to hide. He has seen too clearly what the One Ring is. He has felt its weight in his hand as he forged it under Anatar's tutelage, has watched the fair mask slip from his friend's face when the final letter of the inscription burned into being. He has heard Sauron's voice roll like distant thunder, claiming the dominion he had always sought. He has known, in that moment, that his craft has been used to enslave the world. Elven pride is a terrible thing when wedded to guilt. He will not only defy Sauron by hiding the three, he will strike at the heart of his power. And so, he conceived a mad thought. To use the One Ring, the vessel of Sauron's will, as a weapon against its own siblings. To turn its hunger upon them. To force a collision of powers that might unmake them all, or at least weaken the Dark Lord's hold. He chose Nenya first, not because he valued it less, but because he trusted Galadriel most to endure the loss. He did not foresee that the ring itself would resist. The dust of Nenya still hangs in the air like frozen breath when the doors of the secret forge burst open. Gil-galad's heralds, armor dusty from the road, stand framed in the light of the corridor, swords half drawn. Behind them, a small company of Noldorin warriors, eyes wide at the devastation. Elrond, one of them calls, spotting the half-elf amid the ruin. The king has sent. His words trail off as his gaze falls on Celebrimbor, standing in the center of the wreckage, the golden ring clenched in his bloody fist. For a heartbeat, everyone is still. Then the forge shakes again. It is not Sauron this time. It is the world. The unmaking of Nenya has left a scar in the fabric of things, a raw place where two great powers collided, and one was torn apart. The energies released do not vanish. They seek paths like water spilled on stone, finding cracks, old channels, memories. They run along the hidden lines that bind the rings of power. In Khazad-dûm, the dwarven lord who bears one of the seven feels his ring grow suddenly heavy. It has long whispered to him of wealth, of delving deeper, of the beauty of things hidden beneath the earth. Now another voice threads through its song, cold and imperious. Yield. He snarls aloud, startling his counselors. He is no elf to be cowed by unseen wills. He is Durin's heir, lord of the greatest of the dwarf realms. He will not yield. The ring upon his finger burns. He slams his hand against the stone arm of his throne, teeth gritted, and in the deep places beneath the city, something ancient stirs, troubled by the echo of distant fire. In the hills and forests of Eriador, lesser rings, the 9, lie upon the hands of mortal kings and sorcerers. They have been gifts of power, tokens of favor from the fair Lord Anatar, who promised wisdom and strength. They have brought victories in war, prosperity in peace, and dreams that do not fade with waking. They, too, feel the shock. For a moment, every bearer of a ring of power sees a vision. A white light tearing, a silver ring shattering, a golden band falling, alone, onto black stone. Some wake from the vision with a cry, clutching at their rings. Others smile, thinking it a promise. Only one of them, a Númenórean captain far from home, feels a flicker of unease he cannot name. In Lórien, Galadriel rises slowly, fingers empty, chest aching. Celeborn's hands hover at her shoulders, careful as if she is made of glass. What has happened? he asks, voice rough with fear. Her eyes are distant, looking east. He has struck at us, she says quietly. Or we have struck at him. Perhaps both. She feels the absence of Nenya like the sudden silence after a long song. For centuries she has borne it, shaping Lorien into a haven. A place where the weariness of Middle-earth is held at bay. The trees have grown taller, the rivers clearer, the shadows gentler under its influence. Now that subtle enchantment falters, leaves whisper differently. The air is a fraction colder. But Galadriel is older than Nenya, older than the sun and moon. She remembers starlight on the waters of Cuiviénen. She remembers the two trees. Loss is not new to her. She straightens. Send word to Linden, she says. Tell Gil-galad that one of the three is no more. Tell him that Celebrimbor has gambled with our fate. Celeborn's eyes widen. Can he be so foolish? She closes her eyes briefly. He is not foolish, she says. He is desperate. And desperate elves are more dangerous than any orc. In Ostin Edil, Celebrimbor stands amid the ruin of his forge and feels the one ring pulsing in his hand, like a heartbeat that is not his own. The heralds hesitate. Elrond steps between them and his lord, hands raised. You are come from Gil-galad, he says. You see what has been wrought. There is no time. Sauron will feel this. He will hasten his assault. The leading herald, Irinion's kinsman by some distant line, swallows hard. The king bids you flee, he says to Celebrimbor. Bring what you can of your work. We will hold the passes as long as may be. Celebrimbor laughs again, softer this time, bitter. Flee, he repeats. And leave this behind? He lifts his hand, letting them see the golden band. Every elf in the room feels it. A weight in the air, a pressure behind the eyes. A whisper at the edge of hearing that promises so much. The undoing of mistakes, the restoration of beauty, the power to hold back the slow, inevitable fading that gnaws at their hearts. One of the younger warriors takes an involuntary step forward, breath catching. Elrond feels it too. He feels, for an instant, a vision. Imladris raised not as a refuge, but as a bastion, a shining fortress where no shadow can enter, where time itself bends around his will. He sees Gil-galad's banners flying forever, untroubled by decay or mortal weakness. He closes his eyes and forces the vision away. Destroy it, he says, voice low but steady. If you have found a way to unmake a ring, use it on that. Celebrimbor looks at him, eyes bloodshot, face streaked with soot and shame. I tried, he says. You saw. It did not break. Nenya broke instead. He looks down at the ring in his hand, and in his mind he hears a voice he once trusted, smooth and persuasive. You cannot undo the making, Celebrimbor. You can only reshape. He had thought to turn Sauron's weapon against him. Instead, he has wounded his own people. But the attempt has revealed something. The One Ring is not invulnerable. It can be hurt. It can be forced into conflict with other powers. It can be made to feel pain. He looks up, a new grim resolve forming behind his eyes. Perhaps, he says slowly, I chose poorly. Elrond's brow furrows. What do you mean? Nenya is of water and preservation, Celebrimbor says. It sought to hold, to shelter, to endure. The one is of fire and domination. They clashed, and hers was unmade. He takes a breath that tastes of ash. But there are other rings. The 7, the 9. Lesser, yes, but bound more tightly to his design. If the one were turned upon them, if their bond were forced to its breaking point, Elrond stares at him. You would destroy the rings of men and dwarves by the one's own hand, and in so doing, tear out the roots of his dominion, Celebrimbor says. If the 9 are unmade before they have fully devoured their bearers, he will lose his chief instruments among men. If the 7 are broken, his hold upon the hordes and hearts of the dwarves will be lessened. Each break will hurt him, each will weaken the one. And what of those who bear them? Elrond asks, voice sharpening. What of the kings and lords who have trusted your gifts? Celebrimbor flinches as if struck. They trusted Anatar, he says harshly. As did I. We are all deceived. He closes his hand around the ring again. But if I do nothing, they will be enslaved to him utterly. Their lives, their realms, their children's children. This way, there is at least a chance that what I have wrought can be turned to some good. Elrond looks at him for a long moment. He sees the pride, yes, but also the crushing weight of responsibility. Celebrimbor is not Sauron. He cares. That may be his undoing. Then we must be swift, Elrond says quietly, for he will not give us time. As if in answer, a horn sounds in the distance. Not an elven horn, a harsh, brazen blare that makes the stones quiver. The armies of Sauron have reached the gates of Eregion sooner than any had feared. The siege of Ostin Edhill begins. Smoke smears the sky over the fair city as orcs and men pour out of the east, banners black and red snapping in the wind. Siege engines creak, drums beat, a slow, relentless thunder that matches the pounding of the One Ring in Celebrimbor's hand. On the walls, elven archers loose in deadly rhythm, their arrows falling like rain. The first wave of attackers crashes against the outer defenses and breaks, but more come behind, a dark tide that does not tire. In the royal quarters, Celebrimbor spreads a map upon a table, the ring resting on the parchment like a drop of molten gold. Elrond, the heralds, and a handful of his most trusted smiths and captains gather around. "We cannot take it west," one of the captains says, gesturing toward the ring without touching it. "Sauron's eye is upon us now. Any company bearing that thing will draw his full wrath." "And yet I must bear it," Celebrimbor says. "There is no time to teach another its ways, no time to risk another mind." Elrond studies him. "You speak as if you mean to leave." Celebrimbor nods. Sauron will not rest until he has reclaimed his ring. He will throw his full strength at this city. If I remain, Ostin Edhill will fall all the sooner. If I go, he must divide his will, his forces. He will chase. That is his nature. He cannot bear to let any thread of his power slip his grasp. He looks at the map, fingers tracing lines. The 9 are scattered, but we know where some of their bearers dwell. The 7 are in the keeping of the dwarf lords. I will go first to Khazad-dûm. Durin will not welcome this, but he will listen. If I can turn the one against the ring he bears, perhaps I can unmake it as I unmade Nenya. Then I will go on to the realms of men. And if you fail? Elrond asks. Celebrimbor smiles without humor. Then I will likely be dead, and the question will be moot. Elrond's hands curl into fists. You cannot go alone. You must hold Eregion, Celebrimbor says. Gil-galad will come, but he is far. Someone must delay Sauron, must buy me the time I need. Elrond opens his mouth to protest, but the words die on his tongue as he meets his lord's gaze. He sees the decision there, immovable as stone. He thinks of Gil-galad in Lindon, of Galadriel in Lorien, of Círdan by the sea. He thinks of the men of Eriador, of the dwarves under the mountains, of all the small lives that will be crushed if Sauron's dominion is not checked. He bows his head. Then I will hold it, he says. Celebrimbor's hand tightens briefly on his shoulder. You are young, he says, but you are wise. Do not let my madness cost more than it must. Elrond lifts his head. Madness and courage are cousins, he says. We will see which blood runs truer. Outside, the drums grow louder. Far away in Lindon, Gil-galad stands upon a high balcony, looking east. A tremor has passed through his realm like a distant earthquake. The sea itself seemed to shudder. The stars above flickered, as if some great hand had brushed past them. Beside him, Círdan speaks softly of what he has felt through Narya. One of the three is gone, the shipwright says. I do not know how, but its absence is a hole. The others strain. The one pulls at them. Gil-galad's jaw tightens. Elrond is in Eregion, he says, with Celebrimbor. If Sauron moves now, Círdan nods, beard stirring in the wind. He will, he says. He has waited for this. The mask of Anatar is cast aside. The War of the Rings has begun in truth. Gil-galad turns. Summon our strength, he says. Send riders to every valley, every hidden hall. We march to Eregion. He does not know that by the time he reaches it, the city will already be half in ruins. And Celebrimbor gone. In Khazad-dûm, the great gates loom like the mouth of a mountain god, carven with runes and images of hammer and anvil. The air is cool, smelling of stone and the faint tang of forge smoke. A small company of elves approaches, cloaks grey, weapons peacebound. At their head rides Celebrimbor. He feels Sauron's attention like a distant storm behind him, a pressure at his back that urges him to turn, to yield, to bring the ring home. The one burns against his chest where he has hung it on a chain, its heat seeping through leather and mail. He does not touch it with his bare hand. Not yet. He will not give it that intimacy again. Dwarven guards lower their spears as the elves halt. Who seeks passage into Khazad-dûm? One demands, voice echoing. Celebrimbor, son of Curufin, lord of Eregion, he replies. I come to speak with Durin, king under the mountain, on a matter that concerns the fate of all our peoples. The guard eyes him warily. We have heard of war in the east, he says. We have heard that you have made trinkets that have drawn the shadow's eye. Celebrimbor's mouth twists. You have heard some truth, he says. Will you bar your gates to that truth, or will you let it in and face it with open eyes? There is a murmur among the dwarves. At last, one of them grunts. Wait, he says. We will ask the king. The gates do not open quickly. Dwarves do nothing quickly that they can do carefully. While they wait, Celebrimbor looks back the way he came. The sky is hazy with distance, but he can almost imagine he sees a smear of smoke on the horizon where Ostin Edhil lies. He knows that Elrond is there, that his people are there, that every hour he spends here is another hour under siege for them. He forces himself to be still. Rushing dwarves is like rushing mountains. At last, the gates grind open. Durin's hall is a forest of stone pillars, each carved with scenes of dwarven history, lit by red and gold lamps that burn without smoke. The air hums with the sound of distant hammers, the heartbeat of the mountain. Durin sits upon a throne of polished rock, his beard braided with gold, his eyes sharp under heavy brows. He watches as Celebrimbor approaches, cloak trailing on the smooth floor. Elven Lord, he says, you come at a troubled time. All times are troubled now, Celebrimbor replies, bowing, but this one more than most. Durin's gaze flicks to the slight bulge under Celebrimbor's tunic, where the ring hangs. We have heard, he says slowly, that you made a master ring, that you made others besides, that a dark power in the east claims them as his own. Celebrimbor's throat tightens. The rumors are true, he says. I was deceived. We all were. The one I thought a friend was Sauron himself, in fair form. Under his guidance, I forged the rings of power. He made one to rule them all. Durin's eyes narrow. And is that one upon your breast? The hall seems to hold its breath. Celebrimbor does not lie. Yes, he says. I took it from him when I learned his true nature. I have already used it to unmake one of the three. A ripple of shock runs through the gathered dwarves. Durin's hand tightens on the arm of his throne. You destroyed an elven ring, he asks. Why? To see if it could be done, Celebrimbor says, and to wound him. When Nenya broke, Sauron cried out in his tower. His hold upon the three, upon all the rings, faltered. That is why he moves against Eregion now, to reclaim what he has lost. He takes a step closer. Durin, you bear one of the seven. You must feel its pull more strongly now. You must feel his will creeping into your thoughts. Durin's jaw works. He does not deny it. It has grown heavier, he admits, more insistent. But it is mine, a gift to my house. It has brought us wealth and craft beyond measure. You would have me give it up? I would have you break it, Celebrimbor says. With this? He touches the ring beneath his tunic. Durin's eyes flash. You dare, he growls, rising from his throne. You bring the very source of our peril into my hall, and you ask me to destroy that which has enriched my people for generations. Celebrimbor meets his anger with a weary steadiness. I ask you to cut out a poison before it reaches your heart, he says. The seven were made with Sauron's guidance. Their gifts are tainted. Their gold will not satisfy you. Their whispers will not cease. In time, they will drive your folk to delve ever deeper, to hoard ever more, until you wake things that should sleep and lose all you have gained. His words strike something in Durin. For a moment, the Dwarf Lord's gaze flickers as if he sees a flash of some distant future. Fire in the depths, a shadow with a whip of flame, his people fleeing through smoke-filled halls. He shudders. You speak as one who has seen doom, he says quietly. I have seen enough to know its taste, Celebrimbor replies. Durin sinks back onto his throne, fingers drumming on stone. If I consent, he says slowly, if I bring forth the ring of my house and let you set it against this master ring, what guarantee have I that you will not claim its power for yourself, that you will not become another Sauron? Celebrimbor laughs, a sound with no joy in it. Guarantee, he echoes. There is none. I am my father's son. Pride runs in my blood, but I carry also the memory of what my pride has already wrought. I carry the screams of my people as Sauron's armies fall upon them. I carry the knowledge that every moment I delay, more die because of me. He steps closer, lowering his voice. Durin, I do not want this ring. It is a weight I can barely bear. If I could cast it into the fire that made it, I would. But I cannot reach Mordor in time, not with Sauron hunting me. This is the only way I see to hurt him now. He spreads his hands. Help me, or do nothing, and wait for the day when his armies beat at your gates as they now beat at mine. Silence. The dwarves murmur among themselves, a low rumble like distant thunder. At last, Durin raises his hand. Bring it, he says, gasps. A dwarf at his right hand, an advisor with silver in his beard, stiffens. My lord, bring it, Durin repeats, voice like stone. Reluctantly, the advisor bows and departs through a side door. The hall waits. When he returns, he carries a small chest of black iron, bound with runes of secrecy and warding. He sets it before Durin and steps back. Durin lays his hand upon the lid. For a moment, he hesitates. He has worn the ring many times, in council and in solitude, feeling its subtle strength flow into his words, his decisions. It has been a comfort, a reassurance that his line will not fail, that his realm will prosper. To give it up is to step into uncertainty. But the memory of Celebrimbor's words, of that brief, terrifying vision of fire in the deeps, presses upon him. He opens the chest. Inside, on a bed of dark velvet, lies a ring of gold set with a single hard gem that glows faintly in the half-light. It looks unremarkable, almost plain, yet the air around it seems denser, as if sound itself slows near it. Durin lifts it. The metal is warm against his calloused fingers. He looks at it a long moment, then at Celebrimbor. "If you betray us," he says softly, "I will curse your name in the deep tongue, and that curse will echo in these halls until the mountains fall." Celebrimbor inclines his head. "I will deserve it," he says. They choose a place deep under the mountain, in a chamber carved from living rock where ancient veins of mithril glimmer faintly. Here the heat of the earth presses close, and the sound of the forges is a distant murmur. An anvil stands in the center, old and pitted, its surface blackened by centuries of use. Celebrimbor stands on one side, Durin on the other. Between them lies the anvil, upon it the ring of the dwarves. Celebrimbor draws out the one ring. It seems to dim the light around it, drinking in the glow of the mithril, the flicker of the torches. Its inscription, usually hidden unless heated, crawls faintly upon its surface, as if some inner fire has been stirred by Nenya's death and the proximity of another of its kin. Durin's eyes narrow, but he does not flinch. "Place yours atop mine," he says. Celebrimbor hesitates. The memory of Nenya's unmaking is fresh. The white wound, the dust, the scream in his bones. He forces his hand to move. The one ring touches the dwarven ring. For an instant, nothing happens. Then the chamber fills with a low, grinding hum, like the sound of mountains shifting in their sleep. The stone under their feet vibrates. Fine dust sifts down from the ceiling. Durin grips the anvil, knuckles white. Celebrimbor feels the one ring surge. It recognizes its sibling. It reaches. The dwarven ring's gem flares, a hard, cold light meeting the golden fire with stubborn resistance. The two powers clash, not like water and flame, but like two hammers striking. The sound is not in the air, but in their skulls. Durin gasps, eyes wide. He sees, in a single, dizzying rush, all that the ring has promised him. Endless veins of mithril, halls filled with gold, songs of his name sung under 1,000 mountains. He sees, too, a shadow behind those riches, a tall figure in black armor standing at the edge of his dreams, watching. Celebrimbor sees more. He sees Sauron in his tower, reeling as another thread of his design is pulled taut. He feels the Dark Lords will slam down, trying to seize the dwarven ring, to wrench it away from this upstart elven hand that dares to meddle. He pushes back. For the first time, he does not merely resist the One Ring. He uses it. He takes the pain of Nenya's unmaking, the memory of that white wound, and he feeds it into the One. He forces it to remember that it can be hurt, that its power is not absolute. He takes the stubborn, earth-deep resistance of the dwarven ring and twists it, turning its defiance not against him, but against its maker. The two rings scream. Durin staggers. A cry torn from his throat. Celebrimbor feels his own spirit stretch, thin as wire. "Break," he whispers through gritted teeth. "Break." For a moment, it seems they will both shatter. The One and the dwarven ring, the master and the servant. torn apart in a mutual destruction that will send shockwaves through the world. Sauron feels it. On the plain of Gorgoroth he roars, a sound that makes the sky darken. He pours his will into the One, a flood of rage and fear and desperate possessiveness. Mine. The one ring flares. The dwarven ring cracks. A hairline fracture races across its gem, then another, until the stone is a spiderweb of light. With a sound like a breaking bone, it explodes into shards that vanish before they hit the anvil, dissolving into motes of dull grey that drift to the floor and fade. Durin collapses to his knees. The weight that has sat upon his heart for years lifts, leaving a strange lightness, almost a dizziness in its place. He feels suddenly, acutely, the true extent of his own greed, the way the ring had been nudging him, ever so gently, toward deeper delving, toward riskier ventures. He feels clean. He also feels Sauron's fury, a distant heat like the breath of a dragon. Celebrimbor sways. The one ring lies on the anvil, unbroken, but it is changed. It is hot enough now that the inscription glows clearly, lines of fire spelling out the black speech. The gold seems thinner somehow, as if some of its substance has been spent. Its hum in Celebrimbor's mind is a fraction less overwhelming. He has hurt it. Sauron staggers again, clutching at his chest. Another thread has snapped. He had woven the 7 to be more stubborn than the 9, less easily bent to his will, but no less tied to the 1. When one of them is unmade, the recoil slams into him like a hammer blow. He snarls, baring teeth. "Enough," he hisses. His gaze, the gaze of his spirit, turns from the westward road where Celebrimbor flees toward Khazad-dûm, back to Eregion. If he cannot yet reclaim the One, he will make the elves pay for every hurt they deal him. His armies press harder. In Osten Idhil, Elrond stands upon the wall, hair whipped by wind, bow in hand. The city burns in places now, smoke smearing the sky. The once bright banners of the House of Feanor hang tattered and soot-stained. The air stinks of blood and burning pitch. He looses arrow after arrow, each finding its mark. But the tide does not slow. A section of the wall shudders under the impact of a battering ram. Stones crack. Elves shout, rushing to brace the breach. Elrond's heart is a steady drum in his chest. He thinks of Celebrimbor under the mountain, forcing the 1 against the 7. He thinks of Gil-galad marching, of Galadriel watching, of Círdan waiting by the sea. He thinks of men in their halls, unaware that their fates are being decided in these hours. He does not think of failure. He cannot afford to. A shout draws his attention. At the gate, a figure in black armor strides forward, taller than any man, a great mace in his hand. Sauron has come in person. He moves like a storm-given flesh, each swing of his weapon sending elves flying. Arrows hiss toward him and burn to ash in the air. The very stones seem to recoil from his tread. Elrond's breath catches. He has heard of Sauron, has seen him once from afar in Gil-galad's council, when he came in fair guise to offer friendship. He has never seen him like this, unmasked, terrible. "Fall back," he shouts, "to the inner ward." They retreat, fighting every step as Sauron's forces pour through the broken gate. In Khazad-dûm, the chamber still hums with fading echoes. Durin pushes himself to his feet, breathing hard. He looks at the empty space where his ring lay. "It is done," he says, voice rough. Celebrimbor nods, swaying. "1 of the 7, he says. "There are 6 more, and the 9. Durin stares at him. "You mean to do this again?" he says. It is not a question. "Yes," Celebrimbor says simply. Durin's eyes darken. You will not find the other dwarf lords so willing, he warns. They will see only what they lose, not what they escape. I know, Celebrimbor says, but I must try. He picks up the one ring. It is heavier now. It pulses in his hand like a living thing, furious and wounded. He feels Sauron's attention slam into him, a weight that drives him to his knees for a moment. You dare, the Dark Lord's thought hisses, words without sound. Celebrimbor grits his teeth. Yes, he whispers aloud. I dare. Durin steps forward. You will not go alone, he says. Not after what you have done for my house. Celebrimbor looks up, surprised. Durin's mouth twists. Do not mistake me, he says. I do this not for you, but for my people. If Sauron falls, his orcs will not trouble our roads. His fire will not lick at our gates. And if he triumphs, your elves will not be his only victims. He calls for his captains. A small company, he says. Swift and silent. We will escort the Elven Lord to the borders of the next realm that bears a ring. Celebrimbor bows his head. My thanks, he says. Durin snorts. Keep your thanks, he says. Keep your courage. You will need it. Outside, the world shifts. Word of Nenya's fall and the unmaking of a dwarven ring spreads not by messenger, but by rumor, by the strange intuition of those who bear rings, by the sudden, inexplicable changes in the air. In Lorien, the Malorns shed leaves out of season, a golden rain that carpets the forest floor. In Mitlond, Narya burns hotter, its fire licking at Círdan's spirit, urging him to act, to inspire, to resist. In a Númenórean outpost on the coast of Middle-earth, a captain who bears one of the 9 dreams of a golden ring cracking like ice and wakes with his heart pounding, his ring finger aching. He looks at the band upon it, so small, so innocuous. He feels, for the first time, that it is looking back. In Mordor, Sauron rages. He had planned to take Eregion, to seize the rings, to bend the elven smiths to his will, to use their craft to perfect his dominion. He had not planned for this wild, desperate sacrilege. His own ring turned against his designs, his careful webs torn by the very power that should have bound them. He had underestimated Celebrimbor. He will not do so again. He splits his will. One part presses on the assault on Ost-in-Edhil, determined to crush Elrond's defense, to drag every last secret from the city's ruins. The other stretches like a dark hand toward the west and south, seeking the bright, defiant spark that is Celebrimbor with the One. He finds him, a flicker under the mountain. He feels the loss of the dwarven ring as a sharp, jagged pain. He smiles, thin and cruel. Pain goes both ways. He reaches through the One, not to seize it, but to whisper. You cannot win. He breathes into Celebrimbor's thoughts. You are one elf against the Lord of the Earth. You break my toys, and for each one, I will break 1,000 of your people. Celebrimbor staggers as the voice slams into his mind. He grips the ring tighter. Then I will break 10,000, he mutters. Durin glances at him. Are you well? He asks. Celebrimbor forces a nod. Well enough, he lies. They leave Khazad-dûm by a lesser gate, a hidden door that opens onto a narrow valley choked with pines. A handful of dwarven warriors accompany them, axes on their backs, eyes scanning the ridges. Their next destination is a realm of men. A kingdom in the south where one of the 9 rules. Celebrimbor has never been there. He knows only the name of its lord, a man who once came to Ost-in-Edhil to receive his gift with awe and gratitude. He does not know that that man has already begun to change. The journey is long and perilous. They move by night when they can, avoiding the main roads where Sauron's scouts prowl. Celebrimbor feels the One ring tugging him, trying to bend his steps eastward toward Mordor. He resists, but every day it is harder. The ring has been wounded. It has also been awakened. It learns. In the camp at night, when the dwarves sleep and the stars wheel overhead, Celebrimbor sits apart, the ring in his hand. He studies it. Its surface is no longer perfectly smooth. There are tiny imperfections now, almost invisible to the eye, where the clash with Nenya and the dwarven ring has marred it. The inscription seems deeper, as if it has bitten more firmly into the gold. He wonders what will happen if he continues. Will the one eventually crack, its substance exhausted by the repeated unmakings, or will it adapt, finding ways to channel the strain elsewhere to make the destruction of its siblings strengthen it instead? He does not know. He only knows that Elrond is fighting, that Gil-galad is marching, that men and dwarves and elves alike are caught in a web he helped weave. He cannot stop now. In Ostined Hill, the web tightens. Sauron strides through the streets, his presence a weight that drives elves to their knees. Houses burn, statues topple. The fair city of the Gwaithemir Dain, the greatest centre of craft since the days of Feanor and Tirion, is reduced to ruin. Elrond and a remnant of defenders fall back to the last stronghold, a tower where the remaining works of Celebrimbor have been hidden. They bar the doors. Elrond leans against the cool stone, chest heaving. He can feel Sauron drawing near, a pressure like a storm front. He thinks of fleeing, of leading his people out through some secret way. But there is no time. The tower is encircled. The only way out is through. He straightens. "If he comes for us," he says to the exhausted elves around him, "we will make him pay for every step." They nod, faces pale but resolute. He does not tell them that he knows they cannot win. He only knows that the resistance buys time. Time for Gil-galad, time for Celebrimbor. Outside, Sauron lifts his hand. The doors of the tower explode inward. He steps through, black armor gleaming in the firelight. Mace dripping with blood. Elrond draws his sword. The clash is brief and terrible. Elrond is skilled, swift, and valiant, but he is not yet the warrior he will become in later ages. He is still young, still learning. Against Sauron he is as a sapling before a storm. Sauron bats his sword aside with contemptuous ease. "Where is he?" the Dark Lord demands, voice like grinding stone. "Where is the thief who dares meddle with my works?" Elrond spits blood. "Gone where you cannot reach him," he says. Sauron's gauntleted hand closes around his throat. "You think there is any place in this world beyond my reach?" he hisses. He squeezes. Elrond's vision darkens. Then, faintly, he hears something. Horns, not orc horns, fair and clear, ringing from the west. Gil-galad has come. The siege of Eragion is not yet lost. Sauron's head snaps up. He hears it too. For a heartbeat, his attention wavers. Elrond uses that heartbeat. He drives his dagger up, not into Sauron's armor, but into his hand. The blade glances off black steel, but the pain is enough. Sauron drops him. Elrond falls, gasping, vision swimming. He hears Sauron's snarl, feels the rush of air as the Dark Lord turns toward the doors, toward the sound of Gil-galad's approach. The battle for Eregion will be fierce and costly. In this timeline, as in the one we know, the city will fall. But in this one, Sauron's attention is divided. A part of him is always turned westward, following the bright, defiant spark of Celebrimbor with the One. On a dusty road far to the south, Celebrimbor feels that attention like a hot wind at his back. He tightens his grip on the ring. Durin's company marches beside him. their boots raising small puffs of dust. "What manner of men are these you seek?" one of them asks. "Greedy, like all the rest." Celebrimbor shakes his head. "They were proud," he says, "ambitious, brave. That is why they were chosen, I think. Sauron does not waste his gifts on the weak." The dwarf snorts. "Then they will not yield their rings easily," he says. "No," Celebrimbor agrees softly, "they will not." The first of the 9 they find rules a hill kingdom, its capital a white-walled city perched upon a rocky outcrop, banners snapping in the wind. The king receives them in a hall hung with tapestries of his own deeds, battles won, beasts slain, cities taken. He wears his ring openly, a small band of gold that gleams upon his hand as he gestures. "Elf Lord," he says, voice rich with confidence, "you come at an interesting time. My dreams have been filled with omens, a great eye in the east, a golden ring burning, a silver one shattering. Tell me, is this your doing?" Celebrimbor does not waste words. "It is Sauron's," he says, "and mine. I come to warn you. The ring you bear is a chain. It will not serve you forever. In time, it will hollow you out, make you a wraith in his service." The king laughs. "A wraith?" he scoffs. "I am more alive than ever. My enemies fall before me. My people prosper. The ring has made me strong. For now," Celebrimbor says. "But its gifts have a price. Already you sleep less, do you not? Already food tastes duller, the colors of the world less bright. Already you find it hard to imagine taking the ring off." The king's smile falters. "How would you know that?" he asks. "Because I made it," Celebrimbor says quietly. Silence falls. The king's eyes narrow. "You?" he says. "You forged this?" "Yes," Celebrimbor says. "Under Sauron's guidance, when he came to us in fair form, I thought to make works of beauty, of healing, of preservation. Instead, I made chains. I have broken one already, a ring of the dwarves. I have unmade one of the 3. I come now to offer you a choice." He draws out the one ring. The air in the hall seems to thicken. The men shift uneasily. The king's gaze locks on the golden band, pupils dilating. "What choice?" he asks, voice hoarse. "Let me use this to unmake yours," Celebrimbor says, "as I did with the others. It will hurt. You will lose the power you have gained. Your reign will be harder, your victories less certain, but you will remain yourself. Your children will inherit a kingdom, not a curse." The king stares at the ring. He sees in its glow all that he has dreamed, a realm that stretches from sea to mountain, his name carved on every stone, his enemies kneeling. He sees, too, a shadow behind those dreams, a tall figure in black armor standing at his shoulder, whispering in his ear. He shivers. "What if I refuse?" he asks. "Then in time you will fade," Celebrimbor says. "You will become a wraith bound to Sauron's will. Your body will wither, your mind twist. You will wear a crown of shadows and lead armies for him until the end of days. Your name will be forgotten. You will be a terror, not a king." The hall is very quiet. The king's hand trembles. His counselors murmur, some in fear, some in anger. One of them steps forward. "My lord, do not listen to this elf," he says. "He brings a greater danger into our midst. That ring he bears, can you not feel it? It is a storm in a circle of gold. If we let him use it here, who knows what ruin it will bring." Durin shifts his weight, hand on his axe. "The ruin is coming whether you will it or not," he rumbles. "We have seen what these rings can do. Better a sharp pain now than a slow death." The king looks between them. He is not a fool. He has felt the changes in himself, the way his temper has shortened, his patience thinned, his sense of time distorted. Days blur, Years pass like weeks. Only when he looks at his children, at the lines deepening in his queen's face, does he remember that he is mortal. He looks at his ring. He remembers the first time he put it on, the rush of strength, the clarity. He remembers the first time he could not sleep without it. He closes his eyes. Sauron spoke of you, he says quietly, opening them again. He called you faithless. He said you had stolen his greatest work. He said you would come, bearing lies, seeking to undo what he has given. Celebrimbor's mouth twists. Did he tell you that his greatest work was a chain for your soul? He asks. Did he tell you that the ring you wear is bound to his, that when he falls you will fall with him? The king hesitates. A shadow passes over his face. In his mind, Sauron's voice whispers, "Do not listen. I chose you. I raised you up. With my gifts, you will be a legend. This elf is jealous. He would see you weak, dependent on his kind." The king's jaw tightens. He looks at Celebrimbor. He looks at his people. He looks at his own hand. Slowly, fingers shaking, he pulls the ring off. It is like tearing a hook from his flesh. He gasps, staggering. The world rushes in, too bright, too loud. The colors of the tapestries, the murmur of his counselors, the smell of incense and sweat, all crash over him in a wave. He feels suddenly, acutely, the weight of his own body, the ache in his joints, the fatigue in his bones. He is mortal. He had almost forgotten. He holds the ring out. "Do it," he says. Celebrimbor steps forward. He places the king's ring on the floor. He sets the one ring upon it. This time, there is no anvil, no forge, only stone and will. The clash is different than with the dwarven ring. The nine are more pliant, more eager to serve. This ring reaches toward the one like a lover toward the beloved, its power flowing eagerly into the greater vessel. Celebrimbor seizes that flow and twists it. He has learned from Nenya, from the Seven. He does not merely force the two powers to collide. He uses the eagerness of the nine against it, letting it pour itself into the one until there is nothing left. The lesser ring dims. Its gold tarnishes. Its gem, once bright, goes dull. With a soft sigh, it crumbles into dust. The one ring flares. Celebrimbor staggers. Durin catches his arm. The king gasps, clutching at his chest. For a moment, he feels as if something is being ripped out of him, some thread that had wound around his heart. He cries out, then falls to his knees, panting. Then, slowly, the pain ebbs. He feels light. He feels small. He feels free. He looks up at Celebrimbor, eyes bright with tears. "What have you done to me?" he whispers. "I have given you back to yourself," Celebrimbor says. In Mordor, Sauron reels. Another thread snaps. The nine are his most subtle tools, his fingers among men. To lose even one before it has fully matured into a wraith is a blow to his long plans. He snarls, teeth bared. He had not thought men would be so quick to part with his gifts. He had underestimated their fear. He will not make that mistake again. He turns his full attention for a moment upon that hill kingdom. His will slams down like a hammer. The king, still on his knees, gasps, clutching at his head. He hears a voice in his mind, a roar of rage and betrayal. "You ungrateful worm." He sees in his mind's eye a vision of his city burning, of his children dragged in chains, of his own body hanging from the walls. He shudders, but the ring is gone. The chain is broken. Sauron's will batters at him, but it finds no anchor. The king staggers to his feet. He looks at Celebrimbor. "You have brought his wrath upon us," he says, voice shaking. "Yes," Celebrimbor says quietly, "but you are no longer his thrall. You can choose how to face it. The king's jaw sets. He looks at his counselors, at his captains. We will fight, he says. We will send word to our neighbors. We will not bow to the east. He looks back at Celebrimbor. Go, he says. Find the others. Break their chains. If I fall, let it be as a man, not a wraith. Celebrimbor bows. He feels the one ring throbbing in his hand, furious and swollen with the power it has absorbed. He has hurt Sauron. He has also fed him. Each ring unmade pours its essence into the one, even as the strain of the process mars it. The balance is delicate. For now, the pain to Sauron outweighs the gain. But for how long? In Eregion, the battle reaches its bloody climax. Gil-galad's forces clash with Sauron's in the burning streets. The sky is black with smoke and arrows. The sound of steel on steel, of screams and shouts, fills the air. Elrond, wounded but unbroken, fights at Gil-galad's side. They cannot save the city. They can only save as many lives as possible. In the end, they retreat, leading a remnant of elves northward, through hidden ways, into the shelter of the valley that will one day be called Imladris. Sauron stands amid the ruins of Ostin Eithil, armor dented, cloak torn, but unbowed. He has not found the one. He has taken many of the lesser rings, those that were not sent away in time, but the greatest prize eludes him still. He looks west, toward Khazad-dûm, toward the Hill Kingdom where one of the nine has just been unmade, toward the path Celebrimbor cuts through his designs. His gauntleted hand clenches. You cannot run forever, he whispers. In Lorien, Galadriel feels the tremors in the web of power. She sits beneath a malon, eyes closed, hands resting on her knees. The absence of Nenya is a hollow ache, but she is not blind. She feels the unmaking of the dwarven ring, the breaking of the first of the nine. She feels the one flare and falter, like a wounded heart. She sees, in her mind's eye, Celebrimbor's face, drawn and determined. You are playing a dangerous game, kinsman, she murmurs. Celeborn stands nearby, watching her. Will he succeed? He asks. She opens her eyes. I do not know, she says. He walks a knife edge. With every ring he breaks, he hurts Sauron. With every ring he breaks, he feeds the one. If he misjudges, if he pushes too far, he may make the dark stronger than ever. Then why does he continue? Celeborn asks. Because he sees no other path, Galadriel says softly. And perhaps he is right. The fire that made the one is in Mordor, under Sauron's eye. No host can reach it now. No stealth can slip past him while he is so bound to his ring. To weaken that bond, to fray it, to thin the gold until it can be broken by some other hand. That is his hope. She looks east. It may also be his doom. In Mithlond, Círdan stands upon the quay, Narya burning on his hand. He feels the growing tumult in the world. Ships rock gently against their moorings, their ropes creaking. He thinks of Valinor, of the straight road, of the white shores where the shadow does not reach. He thinks of the elves who long to leave, to escape the weariness of Middle-earth. He also thinks of those who cannot leave, men and dwarves, hobbits not yet known, all the mortal peoples who must face the dark with no promise of a far green country beyond the sunset. Narya's fire whispers to him of endurance, of kindling hearts, of standing firm. He closes his hand around it. We will not sail yet, he says to the sea, not while there is still a fight to be fought. The War of the Rings spreads. Celebrimbor and his small company move from realm to realm, seeking out the bearers of the Seven and the Nine. Some, like the Hill King, listen. Others do not. One of the dwarf lords laughs in his face, calling him a coward who regrets his own gifts. He refuses to part with his ring. Months later, Celebrimbor hears that that dwarf has delved too deep and awoken something in the dark. One of the men, a proud chieftain of the East, draws his sword at the very mention of destroying his ring. He fights Celebrimbor in his own hall, steel ringing on steel. In the end, it is not the one that breaks his ring, but his own hand, severed at the wrist by Durin's axe, the bands still upon it. They burn the hand with the ring still on. The flames turn an odd, sickly green for a moment, then die. The one ring grows hotter. Celebrimbor grows thinner. He does not sleep well. When he closes his eyes, he sees the faces of those who have refused him, of those who have accepted, of those who have died because he came too late. He hears Sauron's voice, sometimes raging, sometimes cajoling. "You could end this," the Dark Lord whispers. "Put me on. Use my full strength. Together, we could sweep aside the petty kings, the squabbling dwarves, the fading elves. We could make a world without decay, without death." Celebrimbor almost laughs. "You tried that once," he mutters. "I have seen your world. It is full of ashes." In the hidden valley of Imladris, Elrond begins to build. He has lost much: friends, kin, a city. He bears scars, both seen and unseen. But he also bears knowledge. He knows what Celebrimbor is doing. He knows that Sauron is not invincible. He knows that the War of the Rings is not only fought on battlefields, but in hearts and halls, in secret forges and quiet councils. He lays the foundations of a refuge, a place where those who flee the shadow may find rest, where wisdom is kept, where decisions are made that will shape the ages. He does not yet know that one day he will bear a ring himself. In this timeline, Vilya remains hidden, its song muted, its fate uncertain. Its maker is still alive. In Mordor, Sauron broods. He has lost 2 of the 7, 3 of the 9, and 1 of the 3. His hold upon the remaining rings is frayed. His armies have been checked in the west by Gil-galad and his allies, though not defeated. He still holds much of Middle-earth in his grip, but he has been wounded in a way he did not think possible. He had poured so much of himself into the One Ring that he had believed it untouchable except by the fire that made it. He had not foreseen that the very network he wove, the lattice of power that connected his ring to the others, could be used to hurt him. He learns. He adapts. He begins to alter his strategy. No longer will he rely so heavily on the rings to control. He will use fear, gold, religion, ideology. He will build cults, not only wraiths. He will whisper not only through bands of gold, but through dreams and prophecies, through promises of order in a chaotic world. He will, in time, become more subtle. For now, he marshals his strength. He sends more troops into the south and east to crush the kingdoms that have defied him. He sends assassins after Celebrimbor. He sends spies into Khazad-dûm and Lindon and Lorien. He does not yet dare to leave Mordor again in person. The One Ring is too fragile now. Its gold is thinned, its surface marred. Each time Celebrimbor has set it against another ring, he has forced it to channel power in ways it was not meant to. It has not cracked, but it is closer to breaking than Sauron is comfortable with. He must reclaim it or destroy it. The thought comes to him unbidden. Destroy his own ring? It is unthinkable. And yet, if the ring falls into the hands of someone strong enough to master it, someone like Celebrimbor, like Galadriel, like Gil-galad, they could turn his own weapon against him more fully than this petty gnawing on its edges. Better no ring than that, The idea lodges in his mind like a splinter. He does not act on it. Not yet. In Lorien, the leaves fall. Galadriel walks among the trees, bare branches arching overhead. The land is still fair, but there is a rawness to it now, a sense of time flowing unimpeded. The grass grows, withers, grows again. The flowers bloom and fade. The air is no longer held in a gentle stasis. She feels older. She is older. Without Nenya, the weight of years sits more heavily upon her shoulders. Celeborn watches her with quiet concern. "Do you regret it?" he asks one evening as they stand by the river. "Regret what?" she asks. "Taking Nenya," he says. "Trusting Celebrimbor. Building this realm on the strength of a ring that could be taken." She is silent for a long moment. "No," she says at last. "I regret many things. Leaving Valinor, crossing the Helcaraxa, trusting Anatar, but not Nenya. It allowed me to make a haven in a world that needed it. Its loss hurts. But the hurt reminds me that this world is not meant to be frozen. It is meant to change." She looks east. "I regret more that Celebrimbor bears the burden alone." Celeborn nods. "Do you think he will survive it?" he asks. She does not answer. In the south, in a city of red stone and black banners, Celebrimbor faces one of the last of the 9. This one will not listen. He has already begun to fade, his eyes shadowed, his skin pale. He speaks in a voice that echoes oddly, as if from far away. "I am more than a man now," he says, smiling thinly. "I am a shadow on the wind. A whisper in the dark. I am death to my enemies. You would have me give that up? For what? To age? To die? To be forgotten? Celebrimbor's heart aches. You will be forgotten either way," he says softly. "As yourself, or as a nameless terror in another's service." The man laughs. "I have seen your work," he says. "I have felt the tremors. You break the rings, and each time my master's anger shakes the world. But he endures. He will always endure. You cannot unmake him with his own fire." He draws his sword. "If you want my ring," he says, "you will have to take it from my corpse." The fight is brutal. This man moves with an unnatural speed, his blade whistling through the air like a shadow. Celebrimbor is a master of craft, not a great warrior, but he is trained. Durin and his dwarves fight at his side, axes flashing. In the end, it is not skill that wins, but sacrifice. One of the dwarves, a young warrior with a laugh like falling stones, throws himself between Celebrimbor and a killing blow. The sword meant for the elf takes him in the chest instead. He falls, eyes wide, blood bubbling on his lips. Durin roars, burying his axe in the Wraith King's shoulder. The man staggers. Celebrimbor seizes his hand. He does not have time to lay the rings upon stone, to carefully orchestrate a clash of powers. He presses the one ring directly against the 9 upon the man's finger. The contact is like plunging his hand into molten metal. He screams. The man screams. For a moment, their voices are one. Sauron howls in Mordor. The 9 ring flares, its gold white hot. Then it shatters. The man collapses, body crumbling into dust that blows away on a wind that has no business in this enclosed hall. The one ring falls to the floor. It is hot, but not as hot as it should be. It is thin, but not yet broken. Celebrimbor stares at it, chest heaving, hand blistered. He has unmade 5 of the 9 now, and 3 of the 7. The lattice of power that once bound them to the one is a ragged thing, full of holes. Sauron is weaker. The world is stronger. But the ring endures. Durin kneels beside the fallen dwarf, hands shaking. He looks up at Celebrimbor, eyes bright with grief and anger. "How many more?" he demands. "How many of my people, of men, of elves, must die for this?" Celebrimbor closes his eyes. As many as it takes, he whispers. In Mordor, Sauron sits upon his dark throne, fingers drumming on the armrest. He has lost much. He has learned more. He sees now that he cannot rely solely on the rings. He must adapt. He begins to pour more of his will into the land itself, into the mountains, into the very air of Mordor. He makes it a place of fear and poison, a wound in the world that will endure even if the ring is broken. He sends his servants not only with gifts of gold, but with ideas, the worship of power, the belief that order is worth any price, the fear of death twisted into a hunger for control. He plants seeds that will bear bitter fruit long after the last ring has crumbled. In Lindon, Gil-galad convenes a council. Elrond comes from Imladris, weary but resolute. Círdan comes from Mithlond, Narya blazing on his hand. Galadriel comes from Lorien, her presence like a shard of starlight. They sit together in a high hall, the seas murmur faint in the distance. The world changes, Gil-galad says. Celebrimbor has done what none thought possible. He has unmade rings of power. He has wounded Sauron, but he has not destroyed the One. And while it endures, so does the shadow. Elrond's eyes are shadowed. I have seen what it does to him, he says. He is thinner each time we meet. His eyes are not his own. He uses the ring, but it uses him also. I fear that if he continues, he will not break it. It will break him. Galadriel nods slowly. He walks a road with only two ends, she says. Either he will succeed in thinning the ring to the point where another can destroy it, or he will fall. And Sauron will reclaim a weapon tempered by his own pain and strengthened by the essence of all the other rings. Círdan strokes his beard. And what of Vilya? He asks. The third of the three. It remains unused, hidden. If the One is weakened enough, could it not be wielded in opposition, its power of healing and preservation set against his domination? Galadriel's gaze sharpens. By whom? She asks. Silence falls. Gil-galad looks at his own hand, at the bare finger where in another timeline Vilya would rest. I would not take it, he says. I have seen what the rings do. I have seen what power does. I will fight Sauron with spear and shield, with alliance and stratagem, not with a band of gold that whispers in my sleep. Elrond's mouth twists. I have been offered a ring before, he says quietly. In another future, perhaps I would bear one. In this one, I will not. I will build refuges, not fortresses of will. Círdan looks at Narya. I bear this, he says. I feel its fire. It urges me to act, to inspire, to resist despair. It is a good fire, but even a good fire can burn. I will not take another. All eyes turn inevitably to Galadriel. She meets their gaze steadily. I have borne a ring, she says. I have felt the temptation to make a realm that does not fade, to hold beauty unchanged. I have lost that power now. I miss it. But I also see more clearly without it. If I took Vilya, if I took the One, I would not give them up. I know myself too well. She looks east. The only one who can destroy the One is one who does not desire it, or one who desires it and refuses it at the last. Elrond's brow furrows. Such a one is rare, he says. Rarer than Mithril. Círdan agrees. Gil-galad sighs. Then we must do what we can with what we have, he says. We will aid Celebrimbor as we are able. We will harry Sauron's forces, support the realms that defy him, shelter those who flee. We will endure. He looks at Elrond. You will be our bridge, he says, between east and west, between elves and men. Imladris will be a place where the knowledge of the rings is kept, where counsel is given to those who must decide their fate. Elrond bows his head. I will do what I can, he says. In the south and east, Celebrimbor continues. He unmates another of the seven, in a dwarf hall where the Lord weeps as the ring crumbles, seeing in its dust not only the loss of wealth, but the loss of a dream of unassailable strength. He unmates another of the nine, in a desert fortress where the bearer dies laughing, his mind too entangled with the rings to survive its breaking. Each time the one flares and falters. Each time Sauron howls. Each time Celebrimbor grows thinner. He begins to hear the rings whisper not only when he touches it, but always a constant susurrus at the edge of his thoughts. You are almost there, it purrs. One more, two more. Break them all and see what you have made of me. See what you have made of yourself. He dreams of fire. He dreams of a mountain red and black, its heart molten. He dreams of standing at its edge, ring in hand, and hesitating. In Khazad-dûm, Durin grows older. He has seen much. He has lost friends to Sauron's war, to the breaking of the rings, to the ordinary hazards of life under a mountain. He has also seen his people freed from a subtle chain. They delve, yes, but with more caution. They hoard, yes, but with more awareness of the cost. He stands one day at the edge of a deep chasm, watching the faint glow of Mithril far below. He shivers. He remembers the brief vision Celebrimbor gave him of fire in the depths. He turns away. Not today. In Mordor, Sauron stands upon a high balcony of Barad-dûr, looking west. The sky above his land is a lid of smoke. He raises his hand. In it, he does not hold the one. He holds a small black stone, smooth and cold, a palantir. He has taken it from some ancient hoard, an artifact of Numenor's craft, and bent it to his will. He looks into it. He sees Celebrimbor, thin and grey, standing in a rain-swept courtyard in a men's city, the one ring in his hand. He smiles. He has seen enough. He knows where the elf is. He knows where he is going next. A kingdom in the north where the last of the nine sits uneasy upon his throne, ring heavy on his hand. He sends his servants, not an army, something subtler. A man with kind eyes and a soft voice, carrying letters sealed with the sigil of a supposed ally. A whisper of treachery. A rumor that the elf who comes with talk of breaking chains is in truth Sauron's agent, seeking to weaken the realm before invasion. When Celebrimbor arrives, he is not greeted with suspicion. He is greeted with arrows. He escapes, barely, Durin dragging him into an alley as bolts thud into the wall where his head had been. He lies on the cobbles, chest heaving, rain on his face. The one ring pulses against his palm. He laughs, a short, ragged sound. Of course, he mutters. Of course, he would learn. Durin scowls. This is folly, he says. He has turned men against you. He will do the same with dwarves, with elves. You cannot go everywhere. You cannot save everyone. I know, Celebrimbor says softly. He closes his eyes. He sees, in his mind, the lattice of power as it now stands. The one at the center, frayed, thinned, marred, yet still blazing. The seven, reduced to 4, their songs quieter. The 9, reduced to 3, their shadows shorter. The 3, 2 gone, 1 hidden, its light dimmed but unbroken. He sees Sauron, wounded but not fallen. He sees himself, a thread in that web, pulled taut to breaking. He makes a choice. He will not unmake all the rings. He will not break himself on the last of the 9. He will go instead to the fire, not to Orodruin. He cannot reach it, not yet. But there are other fires in the world, other forges, other places where the fabric of things is thin, where great works have bent the world. He thinks of Eregion, of the place where Nenya broke, where the first wound was made. He thinks of the deep places under Khazad-dûm, where the earth's heat is close, where Mithril sings. He thinks of Lorien, of the memory of Nenya's light. He thinks of Lindon, of the sea. He thinks of something mad. Durin, he says, opening his eyes. I must go home. Durin blinks. You have no home left, he says. Osten Edhill is a ruin. Not that home, Celebrimbor says. Eregion itself, the place where I first forged the rings, the place where I first tried to unmake one. There is a wound there, still, a scar. If I bring the one there, if I set it again in that place, with all that it has absorbed, with all that it has lost. He trails off. Durin stares at him. You mean to break it where you first tried, he says slowly. Yes, Celebrimbor says. The world remembers, the stone remembers. The fabric of things is weaker there. If I can force the one to face that wound, to pour itself into it, perhaps I can tear it open and let its fire spill out. Durin's eyes narrow. And if you fail, he asks. Celebrimbor smiles, tired and fierce. Then at least I will fail where I began, he says. They turn their steps north. The journey back to Eregion is long and dangerous. The lands they cross are scarred by war. Burned fields, abandoned villages, roads choked with the bones of men and beasts. They pass refugees heading in the opposite direction, eyes hollow, children silent. Celebrimbor feels the weight of each gaze. He feels the rings whisper. You could save them, it purrs. You could turn back the armies, rebuild the cities, feed the hungry. All it would cost is yourself. He ignores it. He has seen what Sauron's version of salvation looks like. When they reach the borders of Eregion, they find not a fair land of holly trees and bright streams, but a tangle of brambles and blackened stumps. The ruins of Osten Edhill loom on the horizon, a broken crown of stone. The air is heavy with old smoke and older sorrow. Elrond meets them at the edge of the valley. He is changed. There are new lines on his face, new scars on his hands. His eyes are deeper, older. He embraces Celebrimbor, feeling the bones under his skin. You look like a ghost, he says. Celebrimbor laughs. I feel like one, he replies. Durin stands aside, watching, arms folded. Elrond's gaze flicks to him, then back to Celebrimbor. You have done much, he says. We have heard. The dwarves speak of you with a mixture of curses and blessings. Men sing songs of the elf who breaks rings. Sauron snarls your name in his sleep. Celebrimbor's mouth twists, and yet he endures, he says. The one endures. He draws it out. Elrond inhales sharply. He has seen the ring before, but not like this. It is thinner, its surface marred by tiny cracks and pits. The inscription glows faintly, even in the cool air, as if some inner fire is always near the surface. It hums, a low, angry sound. It is weakened, Elrond says. Yes, Celebrimbor says, but not broken. I mean to change that. He looks toward the ruins of his forge. The place where Nenya died is still there, he says. I can feel it. A scar in the world. If I bring the one there, if I set it where I first tried to unmake it, perhaps the memory of that wound will help tear it open. Elrond's brow furrows. Is that how the world works? He asks. Do places remember? Celebrimbor smiles faintly. You are an elf, he says. You know they do. Elrond nods slowly. Then we will go with you, he says. Durin grunts. Do you think I have come all this way to turn back now? He demands. If you are to break this cursed thing, I will see it with my own eyes. They enter the ruins. The streets of Osten Edhill are choked with rubble, grass growing between the stones. The once bright banners are gone, rotted away. The air is still, heavy with the ghosts of voices. Celebrimbor walks as one in a dream. He sees, in flashes, the city as it was. Laughter in the courtyards, the ring of hammers, the glow of forges, the gleam of newly wrought mithril. He hears Anatar's voice, smooth and persuasive, praising his craft, offering suggestions, guiding his hand. He feels again the moment the mask slipped, the moment the inscription flared, the moment he realized what he had done. He clenches his jaw. They reach the ruins of the secret forge. The roof is gone. The walls are cracked. The floor is split in a starburst pattern around a central point where no stone lies, only a faint shimmering distortion in the air, like heat over desert sand. The wound. Celebrimbor steps toward it. The one ring pulses in his hand, its hum rising. It knows this place. It fears it. Elrond and Durin hang back, instincts screaming at them not to go too close. "Are you sure?" Elrond asks quietly. "No," Celebrimbor says. "But I am sure of this. If I do nothing, he will win. If I do this and fail, he may win sooner. But at least I will have tried everything my craft and my folly can offer." He steps into the center of the starburst. The air is colder here, thinner, as if each breath must be pulled through a narrow gap. He kneels. He places the one ring upon the ground at the exact point where Nenya broke. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the world shudders. The air above the ring ripples, a vertical disk of distortion that deepens, darkens, until it is a black wound in the shape of a circle, hovering just above the ground. The ring lies at its center, half in shadow, half in light. The hum rises to a shriek. Elrond claps his hands over his ears. Durin's teeth ache. Celebrimbor feels the fabric of things stretching. He reaches out, not with his hand, but with his will. He has learned much in these years. He has felt the bonds between the rings, the way they channel power, the way they resist, the way they break. He takes all that knowledge, all that experience, all that guilt, and he pours it into this moment. He pushes the one ring down, not physically, metaphysically. He forces it to sink into the wound, to pour its essence into the scar left by Nenya's unmaking, by the breaking of the first dwarven ring, by the echoes of every clash that has followed. The ring resists. It clings to the world, to its shape, to its gold. It screams. Sauron screams with it. In Mordor, he falls to his knees, hands clutching at his head. He feels himself being pulled, stretched, thinned. He feels the fire of his soul pouring out through the one, not into the world as he intended when he forged it, but into a hole, a void, a place where things go to be unmade. He fights. He pours his will into the ring, trying to pull it back, to anchor it, to keep it whole. Celebrimbor feels that will slam into him. It is like standing before a storm wind. He staggers. He grits his teeth. He pushes harder. His own spirit stretches, thins. He feels himself pouring into the wound as well. His craft, his pride, his regret, all of it pouring through the one into the scar. Elrond sees him shudder. "Celebrimbor," he shouts. "Stop! You will tear yourself apart." Celebrimbor does not answer. He cannot. He is no longer entirely in his body. He is in the ring, in the wound, in the lattice of power that spans Middle-earth. He sees, in a dizzying rush, every ring he has touched, every bond he has broken, every face he has freed or failed. He sees Sauron, vast and terrible, a shadow of fire and malice. He sees himself small and bright, a single spark. He does not try to match Sauron's strength. He is not that foolish. He does what he has always done. He shapes. He takes the strain, the pain, the tearing, and he directs it, guiding the flow of the One's essence into the wound, into the place where Nenya broke, where the dwarven ring cracked, where the first of the 9 crumbled. He makes of the wound a mold. The ring thins, its gold stretches, tiny cracks spider across its surface. Sauron howls. In Lorien, Galadriel falls to her knees, clutching at her head as a wave of force rolls through the world. In Mithlond, Narya flares, then dims, its fire flickering. In Khazad-dûm, Durin staggers, grabbing a pillar as the mountain shudders. In Imladris, Elrond feels the valley tremble, the foundations of his new refuge shaking. Everywhere in Middle-earth, those sensitive to power feel it, a great unmaking, a tearing, a change. The One Ring cracks. Not fully. Not yet. A fissure opens along its circumference, a hairline fracture that glows with inner fire. Celebrimbor screams. Blood runs from his nose, his ears. His hands are outstretched, fingers clawed. Elrond rushes forward, grabbing his shoulders. "Enough!" he cries. "You have done enough!" He tries to pull him back. Durin joins him, thick arms straining. Together they drag Celebrimbor away from the wound. The connection snaps. The black disc shudders, then collapses in on itself with a sound like a sigh. The One Ring falls to the ground. It is cracked, its surface marred by a jagged line. It smokes. Celebrimbor collapses. He lies on his back, chest heaving, eyes staring up at the grey sky. Elrond kneels beside him, hands shaking. "Are you with me?" he asks. Celebrimbor blinks. He smiles, a small, tired curve of his lips. "For now," he whispers. In Mordor, Sauron lies upon the floor of his hall. He's not in fair form now. He is a shadow, tattered at the edges, his armor flickering between substance and smoke. He feels the crack in the ring as a crack in himself. He is diminished, not destroyed. He can still move. He can still think. He can still hate. He drags himself upright. He staggers to the balcony. He looks west. His voice, when he speaks, is a rasp. "You have hurt me, Celebrimbor," he says. "You have hurt yourself more." He smiles, thin and cold. The ring is cracked but not broken. You have made it more dangerous than ever. It is unstable. It will call to any who see it, promising not only power, but the chance to finish what you began, to be the one who breaks Sauron, to be the savior of the world. He laughs, a harsh, ragged sound. How many will refuse that? He asks the empty air. In Eregion, Celebrimbor sits up slowly. He looks at the ring. It lies on the cracked stone, smoking faintly, its fissure glowing. He reaches out. Elrond grabs his wrist. "Do not," he says sharply. Celebrimbor looks at him. "I must," he says. "I must see." Elrond hesitates. Durin watches silent. At last, Elrond releases him. Celebrimbor picks up the ring. It is hot, but not unbearable. He holds it up. The crack runs along its circumference, a dark line edged with faint fire. The inscription is broken, the words of the black speech cut in two. He feels it in his mind. It is weaker, it is also wilder. Its whisper is no longer smooth and persuasive. It is frantic, dissonant, full of need. "Use me," it begs. "Finish it. One more push, one more sacrifice. You can end him. You can end me. You can be free." He laughs, a sound half sob. "You think I do not see the trap?" he murmurs. "You think I do not know myself?" He closes his hand around it. He looks at Elrond. "I cannot destroy it," he says. "I have brought it to the edge. I have cracked it. But to break it fully would take more than I have. More than any elf has. It would take someone who can carry it into the heart of Sauron's own fire, someone who can walk through Mordor and not be claimed." Elrond's jaw tightens. "Such a one may never be born," he says. "Perhaps," Celebrimbor says, "but I have made it possible. Before, the ring could only be unmade where it was made, in the fire of Orodruin, and only by the will of its master. Now perhaps another will can break it. Now perhaps a small hand can do what a great one could not. He looks at the cracked gold. It will not be in our time, he says softly. We are too known to it. It is too known to us. It will be in some later age, when the memory of this war has faded, when the ring is lost and found again by someone who does not understand its full weight. Elrond shivers. You speak as if you see it, he says. Celebrimbor smiles faintly. I am a maker, he says. I think in futures. Durin clears his throat. What will you do with it now? He asks. You cannot leave it here. Sauron will find it. He will mend it if he can. Or he will build something worse from its shards. Celebrimbor nods. I will not keep it, he says. I am too bound to it. I have poured too much of myself into it. If I keep it, I will use it again. I know that. Pride is not so easily set aside. He looks at Elrond. You must take it, he says. Elrond recoils. No, he says. I have seen what it does. I have felt its pull. I will not bear it. Celebrimbor's gaze is steady. You will not use it, he says. That is why you must bear it. You will hide it. You will keep it from Sauron, from men, from dwarves, from elves who think they can master it. You will wait until the time is right, until the world has changed, until someone comes who can carry it into the fire. Elrond's hands shake. You ask too much, he whispers. I ask no more than I ask of myself, Celebrimbor says. I have given my craft, my pride, my strength. I will give my life, if need be. You must give your patience. Elrond closes his eyes. He sees in a flash centuries of waiting, of guarding a small cracked ring while the world moves around him. He sees wars, kings rising and falling, realms flourishing and fading. He sees himself as a fixed point in a changing world, the keeper of a secret that could save or doom it. He opens his eyes. I will take it, he says. The decision settles on him like a weight. He holds out his hand. Celebrimbor places the ring in his palm. It is light. It is heavy. It is both. Elrond feels its whisper, frantic and seductive. Use me. He closes his fingers around it. No, he says. The word is small. It is enough. In Mordor, Sauron feels the ring move. He feels it leave Celebrimbor's hand. He feels it enter another's. He reaches. He finds a wall. Elrond is not a smith. He is not a king. He is a healer, a lawmaster, a bridge between worlds. His mind is not like Celebrimbor's, all sharp angles and burning pride. It is like a valley, deep, quiet, full of hidden places. He takes the ring's whisper and tucks it away, like a dangerous herb in a sealed jar. Sauron snarls. He cannot see clearly. The crack in the ring, the wound in the world at Eregion, the frayed lattice of the broken 7 and 9, all conspire to muddy his vision. He is weaker. He is not yet beaten. Years pass, decades, centuries. The Second Age rolls on. Without the full strength of the 7 and 9, without a whole and unbroken one, Sauron's dominion is less absolute. He still conquers. He still corrupts. He still builds Barad-dûr, still raises armies, still spreads his darkness over much of Middle-earth. But there are more pockets of resistance. Men's kingdoms do not fall so easily under his sway. Dwarves are more cautious. Elves, though fading, hold more of their lands. The last alliance still forms. Gil-galad and Elendil still march upon Mordor, banners flying, swords bright. The battle upon the slopes of Orodruin is still terrible. Sauron still comes forth in black armor, still wields a great mace, still slays Gil-galad and Elendil. But when Isildur takes up his father's broken sword and strikes, he does not cut the ring from Sauron's hand. There is no ring there. It is in Imladris, hidden in a small plain box in the deepest chamber of Elrond's house. Sauron's form is cast down. His spirit flees. Without the one fully bound to him, without its unbroken strength, he cannot anchor himself as firmly to the world. He does not become a lidless eye upon a tower. He becomes a whisper in the dark, a shadow in the corners of men's minds, a rumor that does not die. Isildur stands upon the battlefield. Panting, Elendil's broken sword in his hand. He has not claimed the ring. He does not have that doom. His doom is different. He looks at the smoking plain, at the broken tower, at the corpses. "We have won," he says. Elrond, standing nearby, feels the small weight in his pocket. He does not speak of it. In the years that follow, the Third Age begins. It is different than the one we know. There are no Nazgûl. There are wraiths and ghosts, yes, but none bound to Sauron by rings. The terror that rides from Minas Morgul in later days does not exist. The fear that chills men's hearts at the sound of unseen wings is less. There are other fears. Sauron's cults, seeded in the Second Age, grow in the shadows. Men whisper prayers to the dark in hidden rooms, seeking order, strength, immortality. Kings are swayed not by rings, but by ideas. The dwarves of Khazad-dûm still delve too deep, eventually. Durin's carefulness cannot restrain all his successors. The Balrog still wakes. Moria still falls. But it falls later and more slowly and with more warning. Lorien is different. Without Nenya, it has never been a place out of time. Its beauty is more fragile, more changeable. Galadriel and Celeborn still dwell there for a time, but they do not become the timeless lord and lady of an unchanging wood. They are leaders of a realm that must adapt, must negotiate with men and dwarves, must face decay and war without a ring's shield. They are, in some ways, freer. In Mithlond, Círdan still watches the sea. Narya still burns on his hand, but its fire is cooler now. He feels less urgency, more patience. He builds ships. He waits. In Imladris, Elrond keeps his secret. He marries Celebrian. He raises Elladan, Elrohir, Arwen. He heals the wounded, counsels the wise, shelters the lost. In a hidden chamber, behind wards and runes and simple locks, in a plain wooden box wrapped in cloth, lies a small cracked ring. It whispers. He does not listen. Sometimes, late at night, he goes to the chamber. He stands before the box. He does not open it. He speaks softly. "Your master is gone," he says. "He is a shadow of a shadow. You could be broken now, perhaps, if I took you to the fire. But that fire is in Mordor, and Mordor is still a place of darkness. I am not the one to walk there. I am not the one to carry you." He thinks of Celebrimbor, of his thin face, of his tired smile. He thinks of the choice his kinsman made, of the burden he passed on. He thinks of the future. He sees, in his mind arc, a small figure, bare feet on stone, eyes wide with fear and stubbornness, carrying a burden too heavy for his size. He does not know who it is. He only knows that it is not him. Time passes. The world changes. Numenor still falls, swallowed by the sea in its pride. Elendil still comes to Middle-earth with the faithful. Gondor and Arnor still rise. They still fall, in part, though perhaps less completely. Without the Nazgûl, the Witch King never rules Angmar. Arnor's fall is slower, driven more by internal division, less by a single, focused malice. Gondor still faces threats from the east and south, from men who remember Sauron's promises, from beasts and shadows that creep from Mordor's borders. Sauron's spirit stirs there, weaker, more diffuse. He is not a single eye. He is a miasma, a cloud, a presence that makes the land sick. The White Council still forms, though its shape is different. Gandalf still comes, a grey pilgrim with kind eyes and deep wisdom. Saruman still comes, proud and curious. Radagast still comes, distracted by birds. Galadriel, Elrond, Círdan, and others sit with them. They speak of the shadow growing in the east. They speak of the old stories of the ring. They speak of Celebrimbor. Elrond in time tells them of the cracked band in his keeping. Saruman's eyes gleam. He asks many questions. Gandalf listens more quietly. He asks fewer, deeper ones. "Do you feel it?" he asks Elrond one evening as they walk in the gardens of Imladris. "Does it call to you still?" Elrond smiles faintly. "Always," he says, "like a song in another room, sometimes louder, sometimes softer. It is less now, since Sauron's fall. But it is not silent." Gandalf nods slowly. "Do you ever think of destroying it?" he asks. Elrond's gaze turns east. "Every day," he says, "and every day I do not. Because to destroy it, someone must carry it into the heart of darkness. Someone must walk into Mordor, into the very fire of Orodruin, and cast it in. I have seen too much to think I could do that without faltering. I have seen too much to ask it of another lightly." Gandalf's eyes are distant. "Perhaps one day," he says, "the world will bring forth someone small enough to go unnoticed, stubborn enough to resist, and foolish enough to try." Elrond laughs softly. "Foolishness may be our only hope," he says. "Years turn to centuries." The Third Age wears on. Without the Nazgul, without a fully incarnate Sauron, the shadow grows more like a creeping fog than a thunderstorm. It seeps into hearts, into institutions, into habits. It is less obviously terrifying, more insidious. Men become more self-centered, more fearful, more willing to trade freedom for security. Elves fade, dwarves retreat. Hobbits, in their quiet corner of the world, live their simple lives, largely untouched. In the Shire, a small boy named Frodo is not born. There is no Baggins who inherits a ring from a cousin who found it under the misty mountains. There is no Bilbo who stumbles upon it in the dark, because there is no ring in the dark. It is in Imladris. Elrond grows weary. He has lived through the Second Age, through the forging and breaking of the rings, through the fall of Eregion, the rise and fall of Sauron, the founding and fracturing of kingdoms. He has watched his children grow and choose their paths. He has watched Arwen fall in love with a mortal. He has watched the world change around him. He stands one day in the hidden chamber, the wooden box before him. His hand rests on the lid. He is tired. He is tempted, not to use the ring, to be done with it, to take it east himself, to walk into Mordor, to climb Orodruin, to cast it into the fire and end this long watch. He could. He is strong. He is wise. He is also so very weary. He lifts the lid. The ring lies on the cloth, small and cracked. It looks harmless. It is not. He picks it up. It is warm. Its whisper rises, soft and urgent. "End it," it says. "You have carried me so long. You have watched so much. Take me to the fire. Be free." He closes his eyes. He sees himself on the slopes of Orodruin, heat on his face, ash in his lungs. He sees the crack in the ring glow brighter. He sees his hand hesitate over the chasm. He sees, in that hesitation, all the possibilities. To claim it, to throw it, to fail. He sees Celebrimbor's face. He hears his kinsman's voice. "It will not be in our time," Celebrimbor had said. "We are too known to it. It is too known to us." Elrond opens his eyes. He puts the ring back in the box. He closes the lid. He steps back. He will not be the one. He will wait. He will trust that the world in its long, strange dance will bring forth someone else. Perhaps a man, perhaps a dwarf, perhaps a hobbit, perhaps something he cannot imagine. He will be ready when they come. He will tell them the story. He will send them east. He will watch them go with a heart that has broken and mended 100 times. Outside, the world turns. In Mordor, a thin shadow stirs. It is weaker than in the timeline we know, less focused, more diffuse. It is also more deeply rooted in the land itself, in the habits of fear and cruelty it has fostered. It waits. In the Shire, a child laughs, chasing butterflies. In Gondor, a young captain looks east with a mixture of dread and determination. In Rohan, a girl braids her hair and dreams of battle. In Dale, a dwarf counts his coins and thinks of dragons. In Lorien, the last leaves fall from a malin. In Mithlond, a ship is built, white sails furled. In Imladris, Elrond leaves the hidden chamber, closing the door behind him. The box sits upon the table. Inside, the cracked ring lies quiet. For now. The world outside hums with life and death, with joy and sorrow, with songs and silences. The ring waits. It is patient. It has learned that from elves. It has learned pain. It has learned loss. It has learned that it can be hurt. It has learned that it can be almost broken. It dreams, if such a thing can be said of it, of fire, of a small hand, of an edge, of an end. In the dark of the box, the crack along its surface glows faintly, like the last ember of a long cold forge, holding within it the memory of all that has been poured into it. Sauron's malice, Celebrimbor's pride, Durin's stubbornness, men's ambition, Elrond's patience. It will take all of that and more to finish what was begun in the screaming forge of Ostinith Hill. When that day comes, when some small figure stands at the edge of a chasm with the world on a chain around their neck, the ring will remember the hammer blow that cracked it, the white wound that opened in the air, the elf who dared to use it against its own kind, and perhaps in that last moment, as it falls toward the fire, it will feel something like recognition. The box in Imladris sits silent. Dust gathers slowly on its lid. Outside, the Bruinen murmurs over stones, carrying with it the songs of ages. No one hears the faintest of sounds from within the box, a sound too soft for any ear, like a single, tiny fracture running a little deeper through old gold.